So yes, it's a Data Kids project today, the topic of our stream and the adventure of the Daphne the dragon. Yes. Thank you so much that you're with us. I hope we will wait for those who are now searching for the link and trying to connect with us. The stream will be recording, so if someone couldn't connect with us, I am sure you will find the video in the internet and everywhere. You could ask questions in the chat. We will answer them into the pauses. You could type for us, how old are you or your children and where are you from? I think it will be really nice to see what's going on our contest. Yes. So today with me is a really interesting person. It's Cole Knaflic. I really love, let me share. I don't know, do you see my face? But let me share this book. I'm just a really big fan of Cole and her books. And when you will become an adult, if you're a kid, absolutely read the book Storytelling with Data. And if you're an adult, I hope you already read it. So please, Cole, tell a little about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Cole, and I like to think of what I do as teaching grown-ups to make pictures out of numbers called graphs so that we can learn more about the world and about the businesses that we work in and help people to make smarter decisions. So I've written a few grown-up books on this topic, a white one, a blue one, a yellow one, and a green one. But one of the things when we teach grown-ups through our books or in our workshops how to make graphs is they've always shared with us how much they wish that they'd learned this important skill sooner. So that idea, coupled with me having my own kids, this picture is a little old, but Avery, the tall one, is now 13. Dorian in the middle is almost 12, and Eloise is 10. And one thing that has fascinated me about watching them grow is just their ability to learn to read and write and have conversations with each other. And so I thought for a long time, if kids like mine and kids like you can learn language at such a young age, we could really be teaching the visual language of numbers and math a lot earlier than we usually do. So those ideas combined and over a lot of time and iteration turned into my children's book, Daphne Draws Data, a storytelling with data adventure. Now, if you stay tuned for a bit, I'm going to read it to you and answer all of your curious questions. Before we get there, though, I know Natalia has some things to share about her work and the Data Kids contest.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, let me tell a little about myself. I'm an engineer and a data visualization teacher. And I really love data in a creative way. And that's why maybe when I pivoted from my engineering background to the data visualization, I began to draw comics. That's how I just wanted to impress myself and my love to this field. I began to draw characters of different tools like the face, and they have some features, some interesting skills. They could make conversation with each other. I drew little comics about them. So I love the field really, and I wanted to touch like every skill, every tool to train a little with and to know its pluses and minuses. After that, when I became like more professional in the field, I began to educate myself, and I began to draw an educational comics again to show people like the rules of data visualization and recommendations from data visualization in a fun way, in the interesting way, so anyone could understand them. After that, I even became the characters, the personification of diagram. Like they, like a big family, have their problems, their interesting traits, and again, it was quite a fun. So maybe that's why after this project, we made a book like with the characters diagram too. I mentioned it a little later. So yes, and of course, I'm a business intelligence analyst. I love to create like a dashboards, some boring reports. I love like slides with some data storytelling on it. Yes, but also I love the creative view on data, like data art project. And I made like this folk painting style family tree on data on my close relatives and made it in this beautiful way so no one could understand what's going on there, but still it looks really beautiful. So it is a field called data art. It's like a creative view on the data. After that, I begin to create more projects like that, like the sad and beautiful project about the traffics on the road. I make the community of data art where people could connect, draw together, share projects and their ideas. After that, I wanted to try like a material data, and I begin to make like a bracelet from the climatic data. I collected the data about my travels for 10 years and make it like really big with string and beads and rings from 3D printing project. It was big and scary, but so much fun, Elsa. One of the last is the necklace with the data about inequality in Europe, like for dozens and half years. So it looks beautiful, and no one knows that there is a really serious data inside. So data is no boring at all if you know how to make it beautiful. So yes, I love to have fun. I love to make characters from diagram. Maybe that's why with Alex Kolokov together we made this book like Christina and the Magic Chart, where each diagram is some animal or character like a little Barney or maybe Paichi. Yes, the book is about a girl named Christian who is going through the data land and trying to help her father. And little Paichi, you could see this fluffy dog, is helping her, and she's like making an adventure with diagrams. So that's it. After this book, we make like a little community around it. The community became bigger and bigger. We began to make some contests, practices, etc. And now we have our award. And now we're here. Yes. And yes, the award, Data Kids Award, I hope you know about it. It's for this month we practiced, we made many streams with great experts. We tried we see your projects, you participate in our contest. Thank you so much. So let me tell a little about the contest. So it has 3 categories: craft, drawing, and digital. And now the deadline is already over, and we had the technical review of the project and put them on our website. And our juries are already in the process of evaluating. So now it's like a really interesting period of our contest. So let me show like little sneak peek. Let me show you several projects from the website. Oh my God, I love them so much. It's not all. You could find more on the website. I'll show you the link later. It's just the website of our project. But still, I just want to, oh my God, to share this with you. There's so many interesting projects on different topic about, about family, about games, about cosmos, about some hobbies, animals, and etc. From different materials, little puzzles, some LED lamp, in complicated tool and in simple tool. Some of them are drawn by hand, some of them made from sand and other interesting element. Of course, there are like BI packages. The kids, maybe together with their adults, try to make something beautiful. So thank you so much that you're participating in our event. In several days, like in a week, on next Saturday, we will know the winners. And there will be one more stream for this topic. But for now, just let me show you a little sneak peek from our gallery. Yes, our juries have the full list of the project. There is even like analysis, deep analysis of some topic for many slides. So yes, there are many interesting data visualization from complex one to really complex one. So thank you so much. And please, for the full list of the projects, check this website. You already could find them there. They're divided in 3 categories. So you could search there by button. Oh, so that's it. See you next week in the Saturday. But today we're only in the middle of our stream. So leave a little space in your heart. Yes, for the call. In the end of my part, I just want to recommend you this book written in the magic chart. If you want to know more about this book, you could go via this QR to know more about it. Yes, and to meet the Paichi, the fluffy little puppy. And now, Cole, please. Do you need to share screen, or I'll just leave this picture here?
No, I don't need to share my screen, but what
Okay.
people should do is locate my picture and then you should be able to click on it and pin me. And that's going to make things nice and big because in a moment I'm going to take my face off the screen and we are going to see Daphne instead. So again, if you haven't already, locate me, here I am, and you should be able to right click or go to settings and say pin. And that will make my screen nice and big, which is perfect for me to start reading. Daphne Draws Data, a storytelling with data adventure. Daphne was a dragon who loved to draw. She drew everything around her. Trees and birds and mountains and rainbows. The more Daphne drew, the happier she felt. Daphne also enjoyed drawing something a little unusual: data. Data is information you can use to understand something better. Daphne liked to turn numbers, her favorite kind of data, into pictures called graphs to answer questions and help others. Data? Shouted her older brother Declan when she showed him her latest masterpiece. Dragons don't do data. Dragons are fierce. Everyone is afraid of them. But Daphne didn't want to be scary. She wanted to be liked for being smart and kind. So she left her cave in search of a place where she could be herself. Daphne started in the jungle. Ooh, eek, yelled a monkey as it climbed up a tree. I'm not dangerous, Daphne shouted back. Just because I'm a dragon doesn't mean I walk around breathing fire. The monkey popped out. Hi, I'm Daphne, the data drawing dragon. I'm traveling the world in search of friends to help. Suddenly, she was surrounded by monkeys. Someone's been eating all of our bananas, said one. Daphne looked around. Under each tree, there was a pile of banana peels. She counted them and wrote the numbers in her notebook. Then she drew the data. The question we want to answer in this case is, where are the most banana peels? Are they under the first tree, the second tree, the third tree, the fourth tree, the fifth tree? Aha! Said Daphne. The culprit has been eating bananas from this tree. Everyone looked up. On the highest branch perched a toucan finishing a banana. Tango, shouted another monkey. These are our bananas. The toucan looked down at them, snorted, and then flew away. The monkey turned to Daphne and said, Daphne, you helped us. Data saved the day. Will you be our friend? Are you here to stay? I'd love to be your friend, Daphne said to the monkeys, but it's too hot for me in the jungle. Next, Daphne journeyed under the sea. Snap, said a shrimp as it scampered out of sight. I'm not dangerous, Daphne said. Plus, I'm allergic to shellfish. The shrimp slowly swam closer. Hi, I'm Daphne, the data drawing dragon. I'm traveling the world in search of friends to help. Suddenly, she was surrounded by shrimp. The crabs claim they can crawl faster than we can swim, said a shrimp. A second shrimp agreed. It's not fair. They're bigger than us. Daphne measured each crustacean. She timed the shrimp's swimming and the crab's curious sideways scuttle. Then she drew the data. The question we want to answer in this case is, does size impact speed? Over on the left, I'll put speed, ranging from fast at the top to slow down at the bottom. Going from left to right, down at the bottom, I'm going to plot size, ranging from little at the left to big at the right. Let's put our shrimp and crabs on the graph. Generally, bigger does mean faster. We see things moving rightwards as they move upwards on this data drawing. As for me, though, I'm pretty big, but also kind of slow. So I go right over here. Aha, Daphne said. You're both right. The crabs are faster, but size matters. Generally, the bigger the crustacean, the more quickly it moves. This does not appear to hold true for dragons, however. A shrimp suggested, let's pair those that are similarly sized. When a jumbo shrimp beat a compact crab, the shrimp shouted, Daphne, you helped us. Data saved the day. Will you be our friend? Are you here to stay? I'd love to be your friend, Daphne said, but dragons are built for the sky, not sea. Next, Daphne traveled to outer space. Smink, squeaked an alien as it ducked into a crater. I'm not dangerous, Daphne said. Besides, the gravity on this planet is so strong I can hardly lift my feet. The alien poked out its head. Hi, I'm Daphne, the data drawing dragon. I'm traveling the world and beyond in search of friends to help. Suddenly, she was surrounded by aliens. We've been playing galactic hide and seek and I won, said an alien. Yes, said another. We finally found Richard, but we aren't sure whether our spaceships have enough fuel to get home. Daphne walked to each spaceship. She measured the fuel and wrote it down. Then she drew the data. Question we want to answer here is, which spaceship has enough fuel to fly home? Green shows the fuel level. We have that for the red, the blue, the green. Let's see. This line shows how much fuel it's going to take to get home. Let's see. Which spaceship has more than enough fuel to get home? Aha, Daphne said. There is one spaceship with enough fuel. You can use it to return to your planet and bring back more. An alien turned to Daphne and said, Daphne, you helped us. Data saved the day. Will you be our friend? Are you here to stay? I'd love to be your friend, Daphne said to the aliens, but I can't spread my wings in this spacesuit. Daphne traveled everywhere. She problem solved with polar bears in the Arctic, guided gophers underground. She even helped some human kids. Then she realized she was making friends by being herself. There was one more place she had to try. Daphne went back to where she started, to the cave where her adventure began. She found Declan, who looked sad. My scooter's broken, he said. Dad's making me use my own dragon dollars to fix it, but I don't have enough. I think I can help, said Daphne. Let me see your piggy bank. Declan went to his room and returned with it. Daphne counted the coins. Then she drew the data. Question we want to answer here is, when will Declan have enough money to fix his scooter? Let's see, on the left, we'll plot Declan's dragon dollars. And then down at the bottom, I'm going to show time. We'll go today, in 1 week, in 2 weeks. We can see how his dragon dollars accumulate. Let's see, it's also going to be important to know how much it costs to repair the scooter. When will Declan have more than enough money to repair his scooter? Aha! She said, if you keep up with your cave chores, you'll have enough money saved in no time. Wow, Declan exclaimed. Data saved the day. You're the best, Daphne. As Daphne told Declan about the places she explored, the problems she solved, and the friends she made, she realized that she was exactly where she was meant to be. The end. And while the story ends there, the book, Daphne Draws Data, continues with a glossary of graphs. It goes through each of the 4 types of graphs that Daphne draws over the course of her adventures. There you'll see information and examples and some ideas for bar charts and line graphs and pie charts and scatter plots. I truly believe if a dragon like Daphne can draw data, you can too. You can find related resources at daphnedrawsdata.com. And if you have any questions, now is a fantastic time to enter those into the chat window. It could be questions about the dataviz contest, questions about Daphne and her adventure, questions about making a book. And just real quick, while I give you some time to do that, I thought I'd kick off and answer a question that kids tend to ask me a lot after I read Daphne Draws Data, which is, how long did it take me to make the book? And to answer this one, we'll actually look at another data drawing. This is a timeline. So we have to put ourselves in a Wayback Machine and go back in time. We'll travel back to 2023, which we see at the left there. That's really when the idea of making a book on graphs for kids started to take shape, in terms of me identifying Daphne as the main character and starting to write about her adventure. Then comes words. That blue circle shows how long it took me to write the words of the story for Daphne Draws Data. And now that might seem like a really long time to write a pretty short book. And that's because a big part of that process is editing and refining and making sure those words do their job. Then came pictures. I worked with a fantastic illustrator named John Skews, and he's the one who brought the rough sketches that I had made of Daphne and her adventures really to life and drew the pictures that you see in the book. Then came the design phase, and that's where we take the words of the story and the pictures that John illustrated, and we put them together and actually figure out which words go on which page and where do we put them, and design the pages of the book. Then those files get sent to the printer and it gets prepped and gets printed on a really big machine. I have some pictures about that if you have any questions. And after that, we have the book. What other questions do kids have for me or their grown-ups? If you haven't already, you can navigate to your chat window and put any questions there.
Yes, while everyone writing their questions, could I ask one? Like a
Sure.
host, I have some privilege here. Yes.
Awesome.
It's a dragon. It's an interesting choice of character, not like a little girl, not a little diagram, not a lady, but a dragon, a pink dragon. Oh my God, please tell a little about like the big story on this character, on the inventing.
Yeah, so I like alliteration. Daphne Draws Data. One thing you probably notice that those words have in common is they start with D. So when I knew I wanted to write a book about graphs and make it for kids, I definitely wanted drawing to be a big part of that. And once you have drawing and data, you really need a character that's going to go with that. And so I actually, it wasn't a dragon at first. Actually, maybe I'll share some pictures. So one thing that I have in common with Daphne is that I always have a notebook with me wherever I go. You maybe notice that Daphne always had her notebook with her because she was drawing her data. Here are some sketches from early on. If you look closely, you can see there are some giraffes and
I love
some
sketches so
fish.
much.
and yeah, just other things because it hadn't taken shape yet that the main character was going to be a dragon. I did some storyboarding. At one point, I wrote a whole story it featured kids as the main character, right? Natalia, you asked about that. Why is it a dragon and not kids? Well, it started out as kids, and they were helping a dragon answer some questions. But then as I continued to iterate, I thought, well, what if we make that dragon the main character? And so here's like a super early sketch of that.
Oh.
And then I mentioned this, but as I was refining the book and really editing the words, I had drawn pictures as well so that I would be able to read it aloud to kids and get feedback or figure out when things felt rough. So here's a picture of what my version of Daphne looked like. And you can see some early pictures there. And then
Nice clothes and teeth. It's a dangerous one.
yeah. So it was really funny though, because then when I started working together with John, the illustrator, I gave him my version of Daphne. And I remember talking with my husband at that point, and he said, wouldn't it be funny if John gives you back a totally different looking dragon? And I said, well, that's not going to happen. He's just going to take my Daphne and make her bigger, better, right? So you can maybe anticipate from my foreshadowing where this goes, because John did not give me one dragon that was very different from my Daphne, but two dragons that were very different
so
from my
cute.
Daphne. They're darling, but and also very different in different ways, right? So you get the big green one or the tiny purple one. And I think he did this on purpose because then we had a great conversation about what we liked most from each of the Daphne prototypes. And from that, final Daphne was created. And I think it's neat how you can look across these and you can see elements of each of them come together in the final character.
Yes,
So that was super
the
fun
backpack.
to
I
see.
see.
Yep, and her backpack. Yeah, she has to have somewhere to put her crayons and her notebook.
And they look like, especially the three dragons on the right, they look like a team. So maybe we will see like a new
Yeah,
book with
I
their
like it.
adventure, like the
Yeah.
Family of Dragons or something. Maybe like a trilogy or or big, just like not the Game of the Thrones, but something similar,
An
something
epic
for kids.
adventure, right? Yeah.
We have several questions in the chat. Let's check it. Why you not did it with with AI, with artificial intelligence? Why draw by hand?
Draw by
Question
hand.
about
Well,
that.
yes. So drawing by hand is super powerful. It's powerful as a child. It's one of the ways that we solidify memories and explore our creativity. And I think one thing that's sad is over time, a lot of kids, as they get older, stop drawing. But it really accesses an interesting part of our brain. So even when I'm teaching grown-ups, we are always doing things by hand with pen and paper, whether it's brainstorming ideas on little sticky notes or drawing data in the same way that Daphne does. It's a way to explore different ideas and kind of get things out of our heads and out into the world where we can look at them, we can talk about them with others, we can even help others with what we draw, as we saw Daphne do. So I'm a huge believer, and I think especially as our tools continue to advance and have such speed to create so quickly, that there is such power in pausing and going slow on purpose. And drawing really forces us to do that in ways that is useful for developing our brains and helping us think critically. So drawing is huge. Daphne's going to keep drawing.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Maybe she'll explore AI as well. I don't know,
Maybe.
but that'll
Yes.
be later.
Why not? Why don't I not make a friendship with little cute robot or something? I like the sketching even more than like the final phase, the final view of the projects. So I'm a big fan of sketching. Even if they're ugly, I love them so much. But this is all beautiful. Okay, we have more questions. Muhammad asked, I also want to write a book about showing data into pictures. I enjoy Excel charts and Canva, but I don't know Tableau. Can you please guide me how to start?
So I don't actually use Tableau, so I'm not a great person to do that. I think for me, when it comes to tools, whether it's Canva, Excel, Tableau, AI, something else, it's a matter of one, getting to know your tool well enough so that you can do with it what you want to and get it to do what you envision. But again, I think with any tool, that drawing step is really important because if you can start with a blank paper and get that to look like what you want or the start of what you want, then it's just about choosing a tool or meeting somebody who maybe knows how to use the tool well enough that you can ask them questions to be able to take that idea and make it real.
Thank you. A question from Viveka. How did you come up with the idea of the book?
It really comes back to as we were teaching adults and realizing people wanted to learn these skills sooner, and then watching my kids grow, and honestly, some frustration, I guess, in seeing how they were being taught to use graphs in school. So I live in Wisconsin in the Midwestern United States, or just north of Chicago, and it gets really cold here in the winter. But one graph that my kids would come home with every year for some reason was the weather in January in Wisconsin. And, it's cold, it's snowy, it's gray, it rains a lot or snows a lot. We know that. We lived through it. We don't need a graph to tell us about that. So I'm a much bigger fan of using data and graphs to learn new things, right? Kids have the most curious questions. And so if we can teach them how to answer those curious questions by collecting data and drawing it, then we can do something really powerful because it means when a 6-year-old has a question about I spent a lot of time on my screen today. I wonder if that impacts my sleep or my mood. You can actually start to collect information about that. Well, log every day how long you spend on your screen and how do you feel, right? And it could be a frowny face, a medium face, or a smiley face. And if you do that over time, we can allow kids to start to make connections and see patterns themselves. I actually did this with my oldest son, well, with all three of mine, but I remember my oldest son, after we were tracking some things for a while, at one point he said, I realized that if I stay up too late, I'm not in a good mood the next morning when I have to get up for school. So maybe I should go to bed earlier. And that's so powerful if we can get kids to learn those sorts of things themselves versus the parent needing to tell them to go to bed. I think we can empower kids in ways that they can learn about themselves, their habits, about their friends, about the world around them. And drawing data and collecting data, starting to analyze it can be great ways to do that.
I think too, you don't need like a complex tools and the complex data. You just could collect something around you about yourself and draw it in a creative way, like in a flowers or something,
Yeah.
or some smileys. Yes. So thank
When
you
we
for
saw
this
that
answer.
through the dataviz contest where kids were graphing candy like with the actual
Yes,
candy, or I
absolutely.
saw graphs with Lego where the blocks of Lego were used to encode different parts of the data. And I think that's something that can be really fun for kids, is like graphing with objects. So you do it in a physical way so that you can really see what's going on.
Yes, data don't have to be boring. It could be colorful, tasty, etc.
Yes.
Okay, what is the next question? Uh, Randy, how did you come up with the OG dragon?
The original dragon. I just started drawing and she took form.
With nice teeth. Yes, and beautiful. Okay, I feel like using IE is normalized in the modern daily life, but it's more of a less creative idea if IE is used. It's Vivian. What do you think about
Yeah,
it?
I think AI is interesting. We get a lot of questions from adults when it comes to using it as we are analyzing and communicating with data. I think it can be an interesting partner. It can be interesting for brainstorming or fleshing out ideas more. I agree though with the idea that things maybe aren't as creative out of that. And that's where I think there's great power in combining some of the things that we've talked about. You know, if you get a blank piece of paper and you draw some ideas or you sketch out some notes, and maybe then turn to AI to say, how else could I approach this? Or give me ideas, give me 5 different ideas that look very different from mine. That can be an interesting way of expanding our thinking beyond where we might naturally go. And in that way, I think human plus AI can be really powerful. But it certainly shouldn't replace our thinking or our creativity. But I think we can use it in smart ways to help enhance those things.
Yes, I think AI is for boring stuff, like making summaries, summarizes, making translation, like something, editing, not for sketching, not for fun stuff. Fun stuff is for us, for people. I hope so. So, okay, let's check. There is many thanks for for answering the questions, and that your book is very interesting and colorful.
Hmm.
And yes, so I think that's it. If no one have questions, I think we're really nice in timing. Oh my God. Yeah, sorry for the little pause in the beginning. So thank you so much being with us today, Cole.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for having
everyone.
me. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yes, everyone, thank you for participation in this contest and in this stream. So bye bye. Have a nice weekend.